Welcome to What Would Mo Do, a feature of MoAnderson.com. Once named among America's top 25 thought leaders, former CEO Mo Anderson answers your questions about life, business, and faith. Dr. Heath Jones of Oklahoma City says, "Mo, you recently gave me advice about scheduling that was very helpful. I would like to know, how do you schedule your time, delegate tasks, and balance business with family?" Dr. Jones wants to know, what would Mo do?
Dr. Heath Jones, I know you, and you're Heath to me. So Heath, I want you to know I love the part of your question where you talked about a balanced life, because there is no such thing. We're always a little bit out of balance, and sometimes we're hugely out of balance. It's very much like an airplane on automatic. That airplane never flies in a perfectly straight line. It is constantly adjusting to get back on track or get back on course, even though it may be just a tiny bitty adjustment. So don't ever feel guilt because your life is never truly, totally balanced. But the way I think you can manage all of this is if you will think of it as time blocking. And this is so important to do toward the end of the year, to begin time blocking for the next year. And my recommendation is that you think of time in three ways: playtime, pay time, and organizational time. Now, playtime is a time for you to have fun by yourself or with your family, whatever you want to do, and not feel guilt. Now, pay time is the time that you block in on your calendar to do the activities and the things that create money for you and your family. But to do it without feeling guilt because you're not with your family. The third one, the organizational time, is a time for you to plan, to organize, meet with your team, and get squared away for the day, but where you can do that kind of work and not feel guilt. So let's take a look at playtime. This I think means that you block into your calendar all of your vacations, maybe your fishing trip that you want to take with your buddies. It would be your children's birthdays, your wife's birthday, anniversaries, every single event that would be a fun time with you, your family, or your friends. And if you get that blocked into the calendar, block off July 4th, block off Labor Day, make that mark in your calendar for Christmas and Easter and the different holidays, Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate, get those into the calendar. And if you're going to take your grandchild or your child on a trip, get it blocked into the calendar. Now, what is interesting is that when you actually have it blocked in, it will happen. If you don't block your calendar with this playtime, let me tell you what, you become a slave to your business and you won't take time to play. So now let's go to pay time. And pay time is the top 20% of the activities that you do to create income. Now, Heath, in your case, you're a professor. Since I know you, you're a professor at a university. So you would block in those teaching hours or the hours that you're meeting with your team because you're a department head. And so you would have certain vacations off because you're a teacher, a university professor, and a department head. But pay time for an independent contractor would be lead generation. It would be listing properties. It would be showing properties. It would be writing contracts, and all of these things that you do to generate income. Now, organizational time would be that 30 minutes every morning that you look at your timesheets and your schedules to make sure you have the day properly planned. It would be the beginning of the month where you look at your new month and you begin to plan for that month. It might possibly be the latter part of the year where you're planning your entire next year. But it's doing all of it without guilt, because when you don't plan properly, then you feel so bad because you're not with your family. And then when you are on that fishing trip, you think, oh, I ought to be with my family. Or if you're on the fishing trip, you think, oh, I ought to be at my office. So if you time block and plan properly, it is really, really freeing, and you're free to really enjoy it. Now, I want to give you a little time blocking challenge that's been very helpful in my life. I usually get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and for the first hour that I'm up, I meditate and I pray, and that brings me spiritual energy. And then from 6 to 7, I exercise, and then I grab a little bit to eat. I'm not huge on breakfast. And by exercising and eating properly, I get physical energy. Then the next hour, 7 to 8, I get dressed, and then I try to hug, kiss, and laugh with my family a little bit before I leave for the office, and that brings me emotional energy. Then the minute I get to the office, I take that 30-minute time segment and I meet with Kelly, and we'll review the day, make adjustments or tweak it or add something. And that brings me great mental energy because I know that I'm prepared for the day. And then you go teach or you go lead generate. You do that the most important thing, and that can be from like 9 to 12. And you try to get all of this done before noon. And the reason is because if you're an independent contractor, you have great control over your day until about noon. And then it gets a little scattered in the afternoon when you have unexpected people coming to the office, or you get that phone call to come and take a listing or whatever. Now, most people can control their time until noon, and then it gets a little bit crazy. So I challenge you to time block. The other thing in closing that I want to say is don't hang around people who drain your energy, because that really interferes with all of the different types of energy that you get, your spiritual energy, your physical energy. It affects your entire energy life, and it affects your ability to time block when you're hanging around people that do not give you positive energy and help you be all that you can be. Heath, I hope this answers your question, and I wish you great success in your new dedication to time blocking. Bye.
Thanks for joining us. If you are facing a challenge or a question and would like to know, what would Mo do? Please send your questions to mo@moanderson.com. We'll see you next time. Bye.